When you look at a map, what do you see? Streets, maybe some parks, city borders, right? But what if it could be more? What if it wasn't just a static picture, but a dynamic partner that could actually think about location? Well, today we're diving into exactly that. We're going to talk about what happens when you give your map a brain. Okay, so let's start with something we all know. This is a basic digital map of a city's boundary. In this case, we're looking at Guelph. It's clean, it's simple, and it pretty much tells us just one thing: where. But now, watch this. Let's add just one layer of data, and boom. Suddenly, that simple boundary is filled with almost 39,000 individual buildings. Every single one of them is a data point. And you gotta remember, this is for just one city. The scale of this kind of data is just staggering. And that brings us right to the heart of what we're talking about today. What if the map could do more than just show you those 39,000 buildings? What if it could actually understand the relationships between them? How close they are to a park or their connection to a highway. What if it could actually think spatially? Well, to answer that, we need to get into a really powerful new technology. So let's break down the big idea here. What in the world is geoAI? At its core, it's pretty straightforward. GeoAI is what happens when two massive fields crash into each other. You take artificial intelligence, its power to learn and make predictions, and you smash it together with geospatial data, which is really just a fancy way of saying location data. The whole point is to go beyond just where and start to understand the why and even predict what's next. And honestly, this is the best way to think about it. It just cuts through all the technical stuff. You're not just looking at a map anymore, you're working with a map that can analyze, find patterns, and even make educated guesses based on location. And this right here is why geoAI is such a game changer. Think about it. On one hand, you have traditional mapping software, or GIS. It's great at knowing where things are, but it can't learn on its own. On the other hand, you've got traditional AI, which is incredible at learning patterns, but it completely ignores the concept of location. GeoAI is the first thing to truly combine both. It knows where and it knows how to learn. It's the best of both worlds. So how in the world do you actually give a map a brain? Let's pop the hood and take a look at the process that makes all this incredible technology possible.
It's basically a 6-step journey. It all flows from gathering up that location data, cleaning it up, and then you get to the really clever part, teaching the AI how to think spatially. Once the models are trained up, they can start reasoning about the data, and finally show us all those insights on a map we can actually understand and interact with.
And it all starts with the raw ingredients. Step 1 is just collecting that geospatial data. This can be anything from a simple CSV file, think of a spreadsheet with a column for addresses, to more complex formats like shapefiles that might show you exact property lines, or GeoJSON files that map out, say, an entire road network. But the real magic, the part that makes geoAI so special, happens in step 3. It's called spatial feature engineering, and trust me, this is the secret sauce. This is where we give the AI some street smarts. Instead of just feeding it raw coordinates, we create brand new, meaningful data points that are all about spatial relationships. So the AI doesn't just know a building's address anymore. Now it knows that building's distance to the nearest hospital, or the number of coffee shops within a 5-minute walk, or how close it is to a river that might flood. This is the context that allows for real, deep understanding. And here is the payoff. After all that processing and training, this is what you get: a rich, dynamic, interactive map. Now, when you click on a single building, you're not just seeing its outline. You're seeing all of the deep data and the powerful analysis the AI has generated just for that spot. Okay, so we've seen how geoAI works. We know it gives the map a brain. So what's the next logical step? Well, you have a conversation with it, of course. And this is a total revolution. Forget trying to figure out complicated filters and queries. Now you can just ask. You upload your data, the system lets you know it understands, you see that shapefile parsed successfully message, and then you can literally start a conversation with your data just using plain English. So how does this even work? Well, a simple way to think about it is like having two brands working together. First, you have the data engine. This is your GIS expert. It knows all your data inside and out, and it does all the heavy lifting, the actual spatial analysis. Then you have the language model, or LLM. It's the translator. It takes your simple English questions, turns them into a complex query the data engine can understand, and then it takes the results and translates them back into a clear, simple answer for you. So, look, this is all incredibly cool technology for sure. But here's the crucial question. Why does any of this matter outside of a neat tech demo? What's the real-world payoff for this kind of spatial intelligence? The applications are absolutely massive, and they're already making a huge impact. Urban planners are using this to predict traffic jams before they even happen. Real estate companies are generating home price predictions that are more accurate than ever. In climate tech, it's being used to map out flood and fire risks with incredible precision, literally saving lives. Retailers are using it to find that perfect spot for their next store, and utility companies can now predict which pipes or power lines are most likely to fail, preventing outages before they occur. All of this really just points to one clear conclusion. The way we understand and interact with the world around us is changing, big time. Because the future isn't just being mapped, it's being mapped with intelligence. And this is why it's so important. Just think about it for a second. Whether you're deciding where to build a new school, planning an evacuation route for a hurricane, or figuring out where to invest your money, almost every single major decision we make, as people and as a society, has a where attached to it. And for the first time, we have tools that can analyze that where more deeply than ever before. So it really just leaves us with one final thought. Once you have a map that can think and analyze and predict, what will you ask your map next?